And welcome everyone to our live launch of the SLAM Dock version 2.0, Colorized and GPS SLAM. So today in this live stream, thanks for joining me. Thanks for coming here today. We have a lot of new live streams coming out every week. We have our support team offering live support, sales team having live chats with our customers, and myself once a week jumping in live. And today we're launching our SLAM Dock version 2. That has the integrated 360 camera, GPS, that's going to colorize and open up the new possibility of the Rock Inspect. So I'm going to go over all of that today in this video. I want you guys to ask questions in the comment sections. We have our CTO, Alex, in the comment section, as well as, I believe, like 3 or 4 other people from Rock all there. So everyone say hello and give them a little shout out there. But I want you guys to ask me questions, and I want you to learn about what this is, learn about what we're doing, and why it's important. All right, shall we get into it? We shall. All right, so this is the SLAM Dock version 2. Let me talk about quick what Rock SLAM is. What is SLAM for all those people that don't know? SLAM is the ability to make a 3D model without GPS. So it stands for simultaneous localization and mapping. And essentially what it's doing is it's stitching together frame by frame of the laser data and creating a 3D model. So if you're inside in a cave, in a building, under a bridge, this SLAM is a category of algorithm that's going to enable you to make that 3D model still. So we have the GPS on top. So whenever you have GPS, like when you're on a drone or on a vehicle or outside with this device, you're going to be able to not operate in SLAM mode and still generate that 3D model point cloud. But then whenever the GPS gets covered, blocked, you're inside of a building, that's whenever the SLAM takes over and starts still maintaining the 3D model production. So that's what's happening today, and that's what we're talking about. And we're also talking about the new Colorized and the Rock Inspect view on Rock Cloud. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what we're thinking and what we're going to be doing on that and solicit your feedback and questions on that as well. So Rock SLAM is on the dock here. You collect the data on this device, walk around. It has we have a little telescopic rod here that plugs in to the bottom. So you can walk around, hold it in handheld mode. There is a battery that comes along with it. So you can plug in this awesome battery. It's got a little shoulder strap, throw it around the shoulder, not like that, and then plug it in, and then you're good to go. One button operation, click it, start recording. It's pretty simple. The other cool things about the SLAM Dock, the hardware, this physical piece of hardware here, is that it has 4 mounting screws because next week we're launching our new mobile mount, which gives you the ability to mount this device. You can see the screws there. Boom, 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 boom. And it allows you to mount it to the mobile mount, but also you can mount it to backpacks or really anything. It's just 4 universal screws. They're M5s, so works really well. Pretty simple workflow there. I think we can talk more about SLAM and what it means, but the proof's in the pudding. I want to get right into it. I'm going to share my screen and talk about a data set I went out and captured to test this out and release the product just last week. So let's go ahead and share my screen and jump right into some data. So last week I went out with a company called CBRE. They're commercial real estate, and they got me into one of their listings. And so this was about, I think he said around 9 in the morning, like, hey, I can get you in the afternoon. So we jumped in the car, got over the site, shot a video, got the data. This whole capture took 12 minutes, and we were able to generate this whole 3D model. Right now I have the roof turned off, so actually I can come back here and I could turn the roof back on because it's hard to see inside through data. So we can come down in here inside the data. Now what are we looking at? We're looking at a 3D model that took 12 minutes to capture, and we're looking at the resolution of things like piping, roof, the colorization of the walls, and all the other things. This white line right here, this is the trajectory. So this is where we walked. And then if I click this button, you see all those blue dots. This is what we're calling Rock Inspect. So I can actually come over here. Let's take a random dot. Let's just say I'm inside this data set and this is a for instance. So this is what the use case is. I see this pipe up here. I don't know what it is. I can click on this blue dot here. And real quickly, I can come into the 3D view or the camera pose from that exact location. I can see this is sprinkler system. You can see the sprinkler heads. That's a little bit behind me, so that's behind the pillar. I can come back over here, zoom out a little bit. So where are we? I think we're behind that pillar. If I'm moving too fast, just let me know. Yep, so this is the HVAC unit, and then yeah, the sprinkler system is, I think, this pipe right there. So we're thinking about ways, how do you integrate the photos that you're capturing, because you're capturing a whole video. Come back to me for a second, Patrick. We're capturing a whole video here, and we have this 6K video, and then we're taking photos from the video, and it's all aligned because that's how it colorizes your data. And so how do you go and inspect the photos and make measurements on the 3D data and have all that data seamline, together here on the Rock Cloud? And so it's really, how do you unlock more value from the data you already captured? So a colorized point cloud's great and all. It does look beautiful, not gonna lie. But the real use is, how do I use that high resolution photo and have that tied into my LiDAR data to do this inspection work, look at fine detail, and know if there's something wrong, or identify an object, then make my measurements in my 3D view. So let's pop back into the LiDAR data and keep exploring together in this data set. So I went ahead and wanted to remove this roof because it got in the way. So to do that, I simply clicked on this little edit point cloud tool, added a new edit, was able to just select, we can just do this one little area. How do we do that? So that way it's a little bit more defined. So you can really quickly, I'm gonna go from all class to, let's just call it water for now, just something random. And I can come over here into my layers tool, and I can go ahead and just turn that off like that. So that's how quick you can really access objects inside of the Rock Cloud, how quickly you can remove something and just, keep moving on with the day. Now I already classified this all as building, so I did the same thing where I just grabbed that highlight and then classified that building. See what I'm saying there? Just quick, easy. I think the acquisition hardware is important, so getting good hardware, but having a workflow that you can actually access the knowledge contained inside your data, that's the hard part. So we want to make that easy with being able to manipulate your data in real time. I'm going to go ahead and just remove that one now. Okay. Now, when we're talking about accuracy, we have a couple things that we can do. So let me share this tab now, because I want to talk about another feature of the SLAM version 2.0. And so whenever you're taking your data, so in this data set, I walked around and I did something called loop closure. So that's whenever you can see this white path right here, and then I came back around and I crossed my own path again. So that's going to tie that where I started and ended right there. It's those two known points are the same point. And so it'll propagate back through your data set and make all these little micro corrections. You really don't have to worry about that. You just got to make sure you walk in some circles and cross back over yourself. And you can do these pretty big. I mean, you can like walk around the edge, around the perimeter of a building and come back around, and that's going to do big corrections as well. So they can be fairly large loops as well. I've done some data sets where I've drove with my car and had my hand out the window and then just looped around and connected back in, and that corrects it as well. So that's the size of the loops that you want to do. But sometimes that's not always enough. So what we introduced in Rock SLAM version 2, which is live in Rock Desktop right now, is the ability to, in post, so this is how you're processing your data, but in post, make corrections and add GCPs. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit in detail, so you guys can kind of understand what the importance of what Rock is doing and why that this method is better than any other method that is present right now in the marketplace. So currently, you can full screen me for a second. So currently, other SLAM devices, they will have a base on it, and it has a little like crosshair on there, and you're going to walk around and you're going to actually physically place that device on a GCP in the time of acquisition. And that's the key part. In the time of acquisition, you must locate and log that GCP. And that's how you're going to register your data to a known point. Now, sometimes things don't go right, and maybe you didn't get enough, or they weren't spaced correctly, or for whatever reason or another, it's just not perfect. So what we wanted to do is allow you to do that process in post in your data, so you can always come back, add more points. And this has far-reaching implications. Basically, this is how you can align SLAM data with no GPS to aerial LiDAR data in Rock Desktop. Really easy now. You can just grab points from the aerial data and keep adding more GCPs basically in post in your LiDAR data from the SLAM, and then reprocess and generate it again. And I want to be clear, this is different than just moving your data set, you know, shifting it left, right, forward, back, up, down, or scale. Different than that. This is actually very similar to photogrammetry, where you actually have these known points. So in an orthomosaic generation in photogrammetry, not rock photogrammetry, keep that in mind, you will tag GCPs, and that will be a highly known point. And then everything in between that could get a little bit, you know, inaccurate. But that's why you have to have a good distribution, add some. So we enabled a very similar process for SLAM data. So let's share the screen again. I'm going to show you that, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the Colorized SLAM. So here, Rock Desktop, you take your USB, you take the data off, start processing it. You're able to just run through this, and then the next screen that opens up is you're able to see your data set. Let me pause on that actually. So we can see our data set right here in the Rock Desktop, and then we can actually add control points right here into the 3D data. So now these control points are going to show up. I'm going to fast forward, because what we're able to do is, let me pause right there. We're able to tag these known locations in the 3D data to that GCP and then reprocess. See what I'm saying? So it allows you to just go back as many times as you want and keep making your data better. That's live. That's a GCP alignment for SLAM. Okay. Let me come back to our data set here and talk to you a little bit more about what it is that this is going to enable. So we have this SLAM Dock V2. We have that GPS, we have the camera. So now we can do colorized mobile mapping with your R3 Pro. So your R3 Pro is now going to be enabled to do colorized mobile. You can have the inspection photos with your mobile. You got the colorized SLAM, the inspection photos with that. So this is all a part of the continuing work here at Rock of trying to take your hardware and improve it and make it better over time. Last week we launched the V2, which is a total rewrite of all of the firmware from the IMU, GNSS, onboard computer, as well as the laser, and as well as how do we take those data sets together and make them into a 3D model. So all of that was released last week. Now this week we have the colorized, as well as the integration with the camera. Bring me back to full screen. Thank you. So the other thing that you see on this device is a GPS. So this is pretty cool. So now what you can do is you can actually start collecting data outdoors, and you can get that GPS sync. You can do a little convergence maneuver. You walk in a straight line, do a quick figure 8, and then now you're locked in. And then you can go from there to indoors, do your indoor mapping, and then end your data set back outside. And what this does is, instead of adding those GCPs to register your data set into a known coordinate system, it will now be registered by the GPS. So it makes it really simple, really easy. So that's coming out this week as well. So I believe actually we're shipping on Monday. So anyone that pre-ordered a SLAM Dock V2, they will be starting to ship out on Monday and get that. So that's the GPS though. So we have the GPS to allow you to do the GPS SLAM, and then start outside, go inside, go back outside. locks your data set in. Colorized to colorize the point cloud and generate those inspection photos. Rock Inspect on the cloud to tie those photos with your 3D point cloud and allow you to do analysis. SLAM Dock 2.0 gives you, let's see if I can focus this in for you guys. So we got, there we go. Basically power that goes to the camera, GPS that goes to the GPS, and then this last one here is the power that goes to our power bank. And then data is all stored on the USB here for the LiDAR, and data for the camera is in the camera. So you gotta plug that in, pull that data off, grab those two sources, and that's what you need to do to run on Rock Desktop. I believe it's 256 or 512. I'll double check on that one. What's inside here, standard for everyone. So plenty of storage there for you. It's pretty nice. Now, what we're gonna keep working on the Rock Cloud with the Rock Inspect, and because this is cool, we wanna start perfecting the virtual walkthrough. How do you interact and share this data set with your clients? So if you're doing these 3D models for clients and you want them to have a virtual environment to walk through their commercial real estate, their industrial plant, etc., it's really easy to just share that now. So you can have all this data set and just use a share link, and then that's all built into the Rock Cloud. And you can share all of these data sets now, integrated together, and everyone can use it. You just need to have internet. You know, I use it on my phone. It's not the best experience, but it's better than most experiences. So all of that, and then now we want to start working on how do you annotate photos and have that annotate on your LiDAR data and vice versa. So just unlocking the information inside your data. That's the big theme here, is how do you take the same thing, this Rock R3 Pro that you got, and unlock more. So more to come. This is an exciting couple of weeks. Next week is the mobile mapping. We'll be talking about that. Let's take a quick break. Is there any questions that are coming up? I'm going to see. I think we're crushing through this. I'm actually reading your guys' comments here. When using the camera on a drone, is it better to use a single or dual gimbal mount, or does it matter? A single or a dual gimbal mount. So two things come to mind. I don't know exactly what you're talking about. So there is a dual gimbal mount on the M200 series drones. So you can mount two cameras on there, two cameras. On the M200 series drones, I had one of these things. I didn't really like it, to be honest. The other interpretation of that is we have, there's 4 on DJI M300 drone. There's 4 vibration isolators, little gummy balls. And then we sell an additional little kit. It's made by Grimsey, and it's got 2 on each corner. So now there's 4 vibration isolator balls, and that works a lot better. So really, it's 1.2 kilograms is the weight of the R3 Pro V2, and those 4 vibration isolators work really good. So that's what I stick with in that same configuration. Even on the Astro drone, it's got 4. It's got a very similar mount to the DJI M300 mount with where the 4 corners are located. So that way, it performs the same. What is the impact on battery life? Well, the cool thing about battery life is actually there's a battery inside the camera. And so it uses the battery as well from this shoulder mount battery. But it still has this battery in here too. So it really doesn't impact it that much. I don't know. I'll do some long-term tests, but I've been able to get around like 3 to 3.5 hours off of one charge on a battery. So that's been good. We had 4 hours without it. So maybe a 30-minute, reduction on the battery in my experience. Will the GPS enable data know what to do with the data collected with a bad PBK file? Will the GPS enabled data know what to do with data collected with a bad PBK file? Yes. So basically the way this works is, so I'm going to interpret your question maybe. Basically, like when you go inside, obviously you're losing GPS signal. So you would get a bad PPK file, right? So traditionally, if you were to try processing in the aerial data and you went underneath like a bridge, you would lose GPS signal, and the R3 Pro and the trajectory processing software would fail. But now what happens is that it processes the good, seamlessly switches over to SLAM and switches back over to good once you get GPS again. So that's what's going on in the back end. And you can kind of see this opens up a lot of possibilities because like what we're trying to do here is build one seamless trajectory creation algorithm. Whether you're in the sky, you're on a car, you're inside, in a cave, doesn't matter. The LiDAR, IMU, GNSS fuse together to create one algorithm that runs in all places. So this is SLAM 90% of the time, GPS 10% of the time situation, outside, inside, most of it outside. And you can kind of see this as a GPS enabled SLAM. But it's the same algorithm if you have it on a mobile mount, and then you're driving, and then you go through a heavy canopy with trees, and then or a urban canyon, tall buildings, and the GPS quality starts detecting a bunch of multipath or getting a lot of cycle slips, and then it will basically seamlessly transition over to SLAM. So that would call SLAM enabled GPS. See what I'm saying? GPS enabled SLAM, SLAM enabled GPS. They're the same thing. So that is what's going on. Is there still a time limit GPS enabled SLAM? I don't believe so. I think we actually got rid of that a long time ago, and it just kind of stayed on some documents because right now SLAM is all done on your desktop, and I don't think there is. So Alex, in the comment section, can you answer and double check me for that one? But I believe we got rid of that because you're processing it on your computer, whereas before we were processing everything on the cloud servers, and so that was kind of the idea of the 30-minute timeline. There was nothing actual. It was just cost. That was the big deciding factor of the 30-minute time limit. No time limits, he says. There we go. How fast can you move while capturing data? This is a good question, and more research should be done on this, so anyone who has one, I'd be really curious. I was driving with my hand out the window, going about 30, and it was totally fine. I mean, it looked great. Like, curbs looked amazing. Everything looked awesome, and I think I was, like, peaking at 30. I did just buy a Tesla recently, and it has the autopilot, so now I can probably get my both hands out the window and then, you know, collect some data without having anyone else there with me. So maybe I could do some more tests like that. Good idea. I think I'll do that now. Does it auto classify points? Not yet. Right now, so we have Rock Pro services. So there's a lot of features in the cloud that does a lot of things. So you can classify, you can draw, you can export, import, all this stuff, reproject. There's 1,000 tools on there. And then there's a lot of deliverables that customers need that we offer just a blanket service called Rock Pro Services. So we do Revit modeling, BIM stuff. And then we also have people just integrating the SLAM data with the aerial data to get better features for their planimetrics. So if you're doing like an Alta survey or something like that, sometimes people will walk around with the SLAM, merge it with the aerial, and then order planimetrics. And then so it's a hybrid system. So when you engage with pro services, like we're going to take the data and we will deliver the result to your specs. Rock Cloud has a bunch of features in it already. For all the things that it doesn't have, we have the pro services. Nice little plug there. Click the link below. Is it okay to attach the setup to a handheld stabilizer to cut back on bounce? Honestly, I've been whipping it around pretty violently. So that's one of the tests that we do. We test how well if I'm just holding it static and going around, or I don't always do the test. We have the rest of the team do these things, and then I come in the last minute and try breaking it as hard as I can. But then we've done some where I'm like waving it around. It still works pretty fine. I wouldn't say, I don't think, yes, obviously there's a limit to it. But I think the limit is mostly related to it's doing about 10 frames per second. And so, is that right? 10 frames per second? Hold on. Give me a second. Let me calculate this. 20 frames per second. 20 frames per second. And then that 20 frames per second, you know, so basically you just don't want to move too much between frames, like an old stop motion film. So as long as you're not like really jumping a bit, you know, then it's fine. So I think that's the intuition of how to capture good data. If actually, before we go to this, Guillermo, we'll get to that question. Share this data set again, my screen, and let me explain what I was doing. So I actually walked around, and let me turn this roof back on. Yeah, I was walking around. You can kind of see my trajectory here. I was like just reaching my hand up and around, and I'm pretty tall. It's like 6'5", so I was actually reaching my hand up and just like painting with it around some of these corners up in the HVAC system stuff. Actually, where was I doing this? I think I was doing it on this side. Anyways, that's what I was doing. So you can see this is a photo from an area that I was reaching up and around on. Gives you a perspective kind of, but I was moving a little quickly with this. By the way, just showing this again, I love this feature. It having your data sets all together. So last week we launched the rock photogrammetry, and then so having the photos in the LiDAR view, and then having the whether it's the ortho mosaic or the photo view, I just think it's kind of essentially people have done a lot of these scans with other hardware and stuff, and you kind of just throw away a lot of data. And it's like, why? Why throw it away whenever you can keep using it? So we want to keep using this and use everything. Grab some 3D measurements from things, but then also have those photos to just come in there. And what do you guys want to look at I'll look at some questions here in a second, but do you guys want to look at let's turn this to elevation. Whoa. Elevation range. There we go. Good Lord. Maybe it's easier to see some of that piping up there. I'll move it slow. So yeah, this is yeah, I like that. Easier to see. Honestly, I was not prepared for this all as well. I got a lot of ideas what I'm going to do better next time because it took 12 minutes to do this. So I'm going to just double down. So I'm going to walk around and actually really just go in between each one of these pillars, these pylons here, and do a lot more, probably a double the down on the data capture. And I think that's going to, because I think a lot of the missing data is because I was occluded, like there's something blocking me. But honestly, there was like the guy unlocked the key. We were trying to record a video, unlock the key to get in this room, and then move through here, get data, record a video, and he had an hour time limit because he had to get on a flight the next morning. So I was just feeling a little rushed. I'm like, oh, we just got to get this done, get out of there. So I think this is pretty good for 12 minutes. And then, but next time what I would do is I would definitely kind of go and then move the camera around a little bit, then move on, move the camera around a little bit, move on, move the camera around a little bit. What do you guys think? Let's leave this up and then go back to Guillermo's question. What about the GNSS channels? Is it possible to use it just like a standard GNSS? I love that you said that. I'm glad I did not read that earlier, but I love that you said that. It is a triple band GNSS. It measures all the constellations. 1,408 channels on there for you RTK nerds, which I am one. Yes. Yeah, and that's what we're working on. Like, because technically it's a better GNSS receiver than what you're going to find inside of an MLID or most GNSS receivers. Actually, I've compared it to the R12 from Trimble, and yeah, it performs the same. So it's a really good GNSS receiver, really good multipath rejection, really, really solid. We don't have the workflow yet, so the software needs to be enabled, and that's you're tapping into some future stuff. Can you use the R3 Pro as your GNSS to get ground control points? Some might say yes. I might say yes. I'm saying yes. All right. I need to look up here. This is my laptop down here. I've not tested in drainage pits. I'd be really curious. Yep. It should work just fine though. I mean, it's pretty solid, so. If you're scanning a multi-level building, would you scan nonstop up the stairs or go floor by floor? Either way, it should work totally the same. To be honest though, to be safe, I would do it floor by floor, just in case. But if you had some GCPs, or you can come in. So one of the cool things you can do is you could take data from your one scan. Here, let me bring my screen back up. So we got some stairs right here. So what you could do is, if you were to do it floor by floor, you would have this floor and these stairs here, and then you can grab some data from those stairs, some GCPs from this, and then go and make corrections to the floor above you. So that way you're positive, like that railing is that railing from both data sets. And so I think through that, it would make it pretty easy to align those two up. You can kind of see that railing right there. So you can, like, grab some points and then use Rock Desktop to tie them in together. Or you can just try doing it all at once. And I don't know if Leo is in our chat here, but maybe we should just explore that, try it out, see what the best workflow is. Next question. Would there be a way to attach two R3 Pros to a mount to have different view angles, similar to many mobile mapping systems? Yes. That's all I'm going to say. I think that's a great idea. Smart people in the comment section here, because that is essentially, yeah. So, what we're building with the R3 Pro, it's like a central nervous system, right? That whole integrated algorithm approach. So basically, the R3 Pro turns into the whole positioning system knowledge base, right? And so as we keep adding more features and things to it, a second LiDAR, a second unit, and then using this as that SLAM GPS, trajectory creating highly accurate device, then we can keep adding more things to it. It's not, we don't have a mount for the dual configuration yet, but you see what we're thinking. With all the processing for SLAM being on the customer side, will there be a price reduction in the future for cost of having SLAM processing enabled? You should talk to us. There's a lot of things that we're doing with the pricing. So reach out, talk to us, and then we're going to keep adding features and then trying to make it such that you're getting, at the end of the day, you just have to get value. If you're getting value and we're getting, like, if we're giving you 10 times more value than you're paying us, that's great. If we're not, we gotta fix that. So can we get you with the photogrammetry and get you better, can we provide better value from your data, and can you get more money from your clients because you're offering more services, I think is the idea. And then talk to us, because there's different pricing. We have new pricing now, so reach out to us. It's similar, but we're doing more things with the bundling of all these features and to make it more affordable. Will the GPS-enabled SLAM scale accurately before reprojection? So it's going to record everything into that WS84 UTM zone projection. So that's going to be what your data will all be in. So whatever UTM zone that you're in that WS84 and the ellipsoidal height, that's your vertical and horizontal datum that it'll be in. And then from there in the rock cloud, you can reproject into any planar projection state plane, and you can do scale factors and these things in there as well. So it's going to be accurate for your UTM WS84 ellipsoidal height, and then you can reproject it and add any sort of scale factors you'd like as well in rock cloud. RJ Knoll, are any of the components interchangeable from V1 to V2 and upgrading, like the battery pack? Yeah, it's same battery. Same battery pack and same cable. The LEMO connector is the same. And then I think that's really, the shoulder strap on the battery. Yep. Are there any plans for oblique cameras or higher res cameras for the R3 Pro? On the aerial mode, there are plans, but nothing launched yet. Nothing launched yet. There's some plans we're looking at. We try all the cameras, right? Just looking at what's the best. So we're playing around with a couple different 360 cameras as well. But yeah, this one, kicks butt in the low light conditions, to be honest. Obviously, I make videos. I'm on YouTube all the time, so I'm very familiar with different camera settings. And then when I play with like a GoPro versus the Insta360, and I've been very impressed with these Insta360s. Like they're good cameras. They're really good. They do well. What is the upgrade process for those who have SLAM Dock V1? You will need to purchase the SLAM Dock V2. The SLAM processing is you'll be able to roll it over, and then I think there might just be a small one-time fee on that, and that's it. So you need to get you need this hardware though, this whole thing. Does Rock Desktop solve for lever arms? Does that need to be a known value? It does solve for lever arms. Yes. So whenever you select, let me see on this. Go ahead and share my screen again. I don't know if it's gonna. It might go past it on this menu here at the very beginning. Yeah. Here we go. So you can see here process trajectory. We have SLAM selected, but if you have GNSS trajectory selected here, usually it'll show you M300, M350. That has the known lever arm from the device. But if you use other drone or mobile, it will solve for the lever arm in these two processing profiles because we don't know it a priori. Hello from Ukraine. Hey. Thank you. Thank you for saying hello. I'm glad that you're watching too. I hope you're safe. All right, let's talk a little bit more about, let's jump into the data set a little bit more and keep showing off a few of the things that makes Rock SLAM V2 the way to go. So a couple things about share my other tab. Sorry, that's me. I need to share this tab. So a few things on the accuracy of the data. So, you know, we've been measuring like a couple, like almost like 1 centimeter in a lot of places. It's really, it's been really good. And so, and then when you compare it to things like a Matterport or these kind of devices with the photogrammetry techniques, you know, the resolution and what you're able to get and do measurements on, it's just very different. So you have a lot more data here to make the measurements off of, and so that's really what makes it beneficial. All right, is there anything that you guys want to see in the data set while we're here? I'm quite new to this technology. Oh, what is the upgrade process of SLAM Dock V1? I already answered that one. Can it be converted to a 3D mesh? So currently it's only in the point cloud format. No 3D mesh yet. Essentially, even in the 3D mesh, so basically we would need to decimate this a lot and then make that mesh out of there. There's so many points here to make a 10 model off of all of this data here. So that's not yet. We'll see. We'll keep lobbying us to do that. Can I measure something? Yeah, let's measure something. Where are we gonna go? I'm gonna go to this pillar to that pillar. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is that, and then I'm just gonna grab it and pull this over to that pillar. Oh, 10.2 meters, but I want to, meters to feet. 33.5 feet, edge to edge, not center to center. No one measures edge to edge. And it's probably sideways too. What do you think? How big should this windowsill be? Well, thanks guys for watching the live stream with me. This is the section of the live stream where you just watch somebody else work. 7.4 feet. It's probably 7.5 feet though from like the sill to the sill. Let's look at that floor. Let me turn this quality up, turn this down. Easier to see the floor. So it looks a lot, but let me go ahead and let's do a cross section and see what that actually is. Because I think sometimes when you zoom in on these things, it looks like a lot. Looks like it's moving a lot, but it actually really isn't. Enhance. Is this the roof? That's the ceiling. You can see the points are loading. How do we do this with the ceiling in the way? If I turn it off. Now if I come back to this, go to that profile. I broke it. Oh, there it is, there it is, there it is. There's our floor. Okay, let's zoom in. So there's a little jump there. How big is that jump actually? So Z, it's about 2 centimeters right there. And we got this is all from there to there is point. Oh, sorry, was that 2? That was like, this is 1 millimeter jump. Okay, that's too much. That's too small. So that'd be 2 millimeters. Okay. And that's that big jump we just talked about, and that is that's only a half a cent. Okay, so when we're looking at this and we're seeing the separation, so that kind of jump from there to there, I don't know if you guys can see that. That's a half a centimeter on those high points to low points. So it looks, I mean, you can zoom in infinitely to anything and see something. So that would be half a centimeter on that one. All right, what else? What else should I be moving around? 2 millimeters, Alex said. Well, I found one spot that it was 5 millimeters. That's what I do too. Whenever I'm looking at these data sets, I will somehow always find the worst spot, and I zoom in on it, and I go to the dev team, and I say, "What's going on? This is terrible. Why?" And they go, "You overlooked the 999% that was amazing." Oh, that's okay though. Let's do a doorway. Let's find a single door. We had this one. I'm going to switch it over to the intensity gradient. How's that going to look? And then I need to move this EDL back on a little bit. All right. Boom, boom. I gotta look at, I'm gonna zoom back out. I'm gonna come back into that spot really quick. I think that's actually, I don't know if you guys can see that well. Am I on the door? Oh, that's the door jam right there. 3 feet? How wide's the door supposed to be? $36. Okay, 12, 24, 36. So it should be 3 feet. Let's see. So if that was the right point. All right, I gotta keep playing with it. Alrighty then. So, can you export LAZ file and trajectory text file with timestamps and angles? I think it has all the timestamps. I don't think it has. I think there's a text file in there as well. But talk to us. There's a lot of exports. I don't know about the photospheres though. I don't think we have that on the photospheres. Do you process all your data in the Rock Cloud? Two different things are processing. There's pre-processing, and that is generation of the 3D model. That happens all on Rock Desktop. And then we have the, if you want to engage with pro services and get things like Revit models, planimetrics, contours, surface models, or, you know, brake lines, et cetera, PLS CAD, power lines, and all the other, we do a bunch of GIS work as well. So all of that is accessed through our pro services. So generating of the data, what I'm showing you right here, this is all you. And then we have pro services that allow you to get a final deliverable from, or anything in your software of need and choice and deliverable that you need from our pro services team. Can you de-densify the point cloud? Yeah, we should do that. So let's see if we can add that feature. I totally see what you're saying. I can see the need for it. Because it's doing 640,000 laser points every second for 12 minutes. It's a lot of dots. So it's a lot of dots. SlamDoc V2, reach out to, or actually join our sales live stream tomorrow, and they're going to cover all of our pricing. So quick plug for, if you reach out to our sales team, talk with all of our sales members, they are experts at our products and services and offerings, and they're starting to do live streams as well. A little communication. So let's quickly take a break from talking about SLAM and talking about that. And then I don't know how many people are still in the live stream, but let's talk about some of the things that we're trying to do to better engage with the community. So these live streams that I've been doing is a part of that. Yesterday, we had our customer success team talk about rock photogrammetry in order to engage with the community. And then we're having basically small breakout sessions almost every day. So what we want to do is, what I've learned in my experience in this industry and learning, is that I've always learned from people. And having access to community and people has really been the creation of value for me. So what we want to do is not have all the knowledge and the know-how locked behind a door, but instead we want to have it accessible to you and to build that community. So we've worked on Indiana drones for several years now. We have our online academy where we teach how to use our LiDAR products. And we also host one of the largest Facebook groups on the subject of commercial drone mapping and surveying. So what we want to do is further facilitate the knowledge of people that know how to do this technology with people that are learning. We don't always want the people that are just there to nitpick and tear down the community. There are those people out there. Are you one of them? I hope you're not, but they're out there. But the goal here is, how do we unlock the value inside this new technology? Drones are new. LiDAR and SLAM is still new, still a new thing. Even aerial LiDAR in the realization of the drone, as well as the mobile mounting, mobile mapping, all of this is still new to the world for the most part. Yes, there's been some like high-end experimental products that have existed for 10, 15, 20 years. But the access and penetration to the average people and knowledge has been very low. So now we're faced with technology that's running out ahead of the know-how in community. So what we're doing is we're hosting live streams every day. This one has a little bit more people on than most, but we want to have you guys meet each other. So not just meet us, like you're meeting me right now talking to me, but can you meet the other people in the live chat? And can you guys talk about this and keep the conversation going? Because one thing I've learned is that, you know, whenever you find there's other companies that are doing the same thing that you're doing, right? And these other companies, you could look at them in two ways. You can say, there's another service provider in my town. Oh, they're my competition. They're stealing from me. What they get, I don't get. That's one way of viewing it. Or you can view it, what are the odds that some other silly human in this world just so happens to like the same thing that I like? You know, like when you were in school, when you had similar interest, you made friendships. We made friends. And now, as we have money tied into it and financial investment, we somehow feel the risk is too high. And therefore, I must get mine or they get theirs and they take away from mine. So we're working every day to break down those walls. We want to break those down because this industry is still very new and it needs to change. So we got the drone industry, we got the surveying industry. Surveying industry also is going through a lot of pain and struggle. Every firm I talk to are struggling to find qualified employees. It's hard for them. The number of licensed surveyors is aging out. So we have a lack. You know, we need more. We need more people. And then you have the drone side. And this side can be very vicious sometimes and very like opinionated, which is fine. But what we really need is people all to just, there's so much out there. And we need everyone to work together, communicate together. We're going to be reaching out to you, hosting these things, sharing knowledge. We want you to talk to each other, keep the conversation going after this. And we really want to be that resource for you. We're going to keep making great products. We're going to keep innovating. We're going to listen to you. We're going to make better hardware, better software, better workflows. We have a bigger vision with all of this. We think that this technology is a fundamental disruptor. And we believe that the future looks very different than the present. And I want to talk more about that in another time. But I think what we're doing today with the Rock SLAM V2 is just one more iteration in how do we collect very accurate 3D data and then make sense out of it. Whether it's through tying those photo spheres into your 3D data environment so you can do the inspection and measurements, whether it's going from a car and doing street view and mobile mapping there, in the air on drones, you're doing surveying, planimetrics, all of this stuff, BIM, power line utilities, all of it needs to be revolutionized. So that's really, that's what we're doing. Okay, guys, if we have one or two more questions, and then we're gonna end it for today, and then we're gonna see you on the next one. Will you be able to overlay BIM files in SLAM for construction? DWG, DXF, yes, and then the Revit models we're working on. So we will have that with the full tiles, the polygons. Yes, that's the word. Is it possible to colorize in just GCPs with your previous LiDAR system, R2A? Not colorize, GCPs, yes. No color, GCPs, yes. I think that already works today. Yes. Sorry if you already mentioned this and I missed it. What accuracy can be expected from indoor SLAM? How much would the building size and complexity affect it, and the scaling? So right now we're doing lots of tests and measurements of this. And so, you know, I think in this 1 centimeter range has been kind of a lot of the results that we've been seeing. And then we're tweaking it every day. So yeah, right in this 1 centimeter range has been our accuracy. And then the precision, like we just measured some of that, you know, we saw like that 0.5 centimeter jump there. So all that kind of falls within that fuzz of that 1 centimeter expected accuracy. So that's it, but it's dependent on how you walk, you know. So if you don't do the loop closure, you're gonna ruin that accuracy number. See what I'm saying? All right, hi Harrison. I've been following YouTube page after seeing some of your videos, which are suited for surveyors. What you are doing is worth much to some of surveyors in the South Pacific region. Thank you. Awesome, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us today. I love that you're all here and listening to this. I want to get more interactive with your comments and you, so please join some of our live streams. Hop in with some of our other Rock employees. We're going to have it more like a Google Hangout session. So you're going to be able to be on with everyone and talk, little breakout sessions. We're going to be trying to ramp up to do this almost every day with someone from Rock. It's almost like an office hours. So we want to get you guys familiarized with that process, and it's going to help us as well disseminate the information. Here at Rock, we really believe in a few things. We want to be one to many. So this video, it's just me one, but many of you watching, so that satisfies that. We want to work in the open. That means I'm sharing all this data and just you can go see it. Just it's in the open. We're not behind closed doors. We want to enable others to win. So what that means is we're listening to you, and if you have questions, we're trying to answer it so you can go and satisfy your jobs. So we want you to win, and then jump in and own it. And that's just our corporate culture here inside the Rock team. People, when they see something that needs to be done, they just jump in. They own the process and they start working. So that is that's the Rock philosophy. I hope you guys like the SLAM Dock V2. Please reach out. It is a great product. It works amazingly. Many more things are going to be opened up from that next week. Tune in, same time, same place. We're going to be doing the Rock mobile mount and talking about mobile mapping. So jump in that one. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you here next time on whatever platform you're watching me on. Have a great day.
Ready to dive into the future of mapping? We've got a whole series of live webinars planned on rockrobotic.com where we'll deep dive into our products and services, showing you exactly how they're going to radically change your mapping projects. Don't miss it. Ready to dive into the future of mapping? We've got a whole series of live webinars planned on rockrobotic.com where we'll deep dive into our products and services, showing you exactly how they're going to radically change your mapping projects. Don't miss it.